for you, for instance, the glue would be give Christian every single thing that people say can't be done.
Yep.
Yeah. Same with me. I love doing
Yep.
things that just can't be done or people say are so difficult.
Yep.
But
bring it on.
Bring it on. Yeah, you got to have a lot of those things. That's why for the likes of myself, and other people we know, being on that contract side of things, being what we call contingent workers, being career remoters, we get to have that. We get to be in the middle of that and not have the stagnation that you do when you're waiting for something else to happen. So we're getting dopamine hits every single time, right? Wow.
Yep.
Keep driving, go, 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 go. And then we're not doing that. If we don't have that balance, called balance, harmony between what we like to do and what we do, then we're going to go, well, I feel kind of low.
Welcome to the You're Doing It Wrong podcast. I'm your host, Christian. Today I've got Van joining me for a drink and a chat as we talk about psychology and work and other things that might come up.
I think lots of other things.
Well, thanks for joining me, Van. I've got a wine here today, a Cabernet Sauvignon. So what are you drinking?
I'm starting on a single malt Lefroy with a dash of water, as you should.
Oh, nice.
If you drink anything other than a dash of water with your single malt, I'll have to hunt you down. But I've got a Tasmanian whiskey sitting in the fridge right now. Or some of the fridge, it's in the wine fridge, just keeping nice and cool, which I may go off later on and get a swig of, because of course it's you have to smell this one here, but it'll go down very quickly and very easily, I think.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't know you were into much whiskey. I know that you like Malbec. Is that right?
Well, that's the other thing. The Malbecs, I'm addicted to Malbec, but for those special occasions and when I feel like it, which is every other day, the single malt. I always turn back to single malt. Can't avoid it. I just love it. Just love that peaty, that really peaty, strong flavor.
You're a peat fan, yeah. I'm not a huge peat fan.
It rolls around your mouth and it's just and you smell it.
Stays with you for days.
Oh, yeah, well, when you splash it on your body, yes.
Yes.
I haven't done that in years, so I'm probably still safe tonight. So no, that's all you need really to have a good time with a single malt, But the Malbecs, absolutely Malbecs. I'll pile the Malbecs on. Drink a bottle a night if I could, but yeah, gotta be careful these days.
You've been in technology for a number of years, and especially in the healthcare space. So just maybe give us a quick 60-second
60 second?
Yeah, or whatever, however you want to go.
I can't talk that fast. Okay, 60-second health. Let's go all the way back. Started writing programs in health in the 1970s, GP systems, and then graduated to computing science, statistics, mathematics at university, and went back into health, still writing software and still doing stuff. So a long time. And just recently graduated to becoming an EA, which means I don't write code anymore. I tell other people what to do, and I look for problems everywhere to solve. So yes, I think we're all EAs at heart. So yes, I believe you're an EA too, Christian.
Yes. I don't like pushing buttons anymore. As well, I still like to.
Oh, yes, you do.
No, I don't want to be paid to do that. Yeah, well, that's right. I point at the button and tell someone else to push it.
In a specific way. Left, push left, not right, left.
Yeah. You're doing it wrong. The other left.
Well, that's why you got the podcast, haven't you?
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, in recent years, when I started my PhD many years ago, I ended up not finishing it, but then realizing it was back into psychology, and then after that, into psychology, but I did psychology and just graduated a little recently. So it's a huge field for me as well. So I'm sort of, everything we do is psychology. Our interaction's got some psychological basis in what we're doing here. Our interaction is absolutely, our psychologists are both playing off each other. That's why we always talk so much when we see. But it's ICT, health, and now psychology for me.
Yeah. So this is a big departure, I think, from what you have done. Psychology versus just being in there programming. It's quite a big difference. But you also have a new business that you started.
Yeah. It's called Cavern. It's actually a remote I would call it a remote work affirming, but it's actually a career remote affirming organization. So we're looking to, long story, we're looking to change the dynamic of what actually people want to do with their careers and their lives. And what we notice is that, like myself, there's a lot of people out there that don't want to follow the same track as the corporations and your ladder climbing says. We follow our own track. We do what we like to do. We like working remotely. We like working by ourselves, with others when we need to, but we are also following what we want to learn, how we want to learn it, and we look for what we call life work harmony rather than balance. We're not trying to fight everything around us. We're just trying to harmonize what we're doing so we can be better at what we do. We could go on for days because there's a lot of counseling, psychology, and organizational thought processes in that whole concept of cabin.
Yeah, awesome. And
it's sort of touch on the edge and then drop off the side.
Yeah, so I guess what has the response been from businesses as you approach them on using workers that work for cabin?
I would say right now it's an uphill battle because there's a lot of RTO going on, but there's companies out there that are, especially the newest, I would say, startups and the newer forward-thinking ones, which realize that if they're local, they've got basically this tiny little pool of capabilities and skills they can call on. If they start expanding that and allowing themselves to think outside the box, literally, they have a much wider range of capabilities, people, skill sets, knowledge that they can utilize for their businesses. They don't need them all the time. They just need them when they need them, and then they don't, and then they need somebody else to do something as they're growing. But we find that corporations are very much set in, they need to be there so we can see them work. And so they're not valuing the person as somebody who knows how to get them over that hill that they need to get over. They just see them as a body. Yeah. And so that's the thing. So before this, we have a resource company, sorry, didn't say had, that basically looks at how we set up the people for success that are with us. And what that morphed into is we did a lot of, I would say, we not call it counseling, but allow them to see that they're not alone in what they do. A lot of contracting, as you probably, and some of your listeners probably know, is very much soul destroying. Yes. Submit your CVs, get rejected, keep submitting. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you got rejected because of this and the other. There's a lot of that without the support you need. And we're all strong and we're all able to do these things, but it gets a bit much. So why have that? Why be seen as a number? Why be seen as a piece of meat? Why be seen as just a body in a seat? So the whole thing about Kevin is setting up that infrastructure. We've set up the infrastructure for psychological well-being for members of Kevin. They're not alone. They have people they can count on, and they can concentrate on what they do because we do all the other things behind that, plus support them both and their families, of course, both intellectually, psychologically, and let them focus on where their harmony is rather than we're trying to force them to have a balance. Because we all love working, so for the things we like doing, we all have our own personal things. We'll talk about yours, but mine's being around the family and doing my AI work, hobbies and things like that. But I don't go out just to work because I have to work. I would work because I love to work and do the things I'm doing. So that's the sort of thing we're trying to get to with everybody.
You touched on a couple points there. You mentioned skills, that companies are trying to find skills. And I remember the days of right after the .com bust, and Google basically starting out, and companies like tech companies of that era. It was not about the skills; it was about the talent, right? If they had supremely talented people that could pick things up quickly, it didn't matter what skills they already had because they could develop those skills so quickly, so much faster than anyone else. Because if you have these supremely talented people, these geniuses, and this huge, great talent pool, the world was your oyster. Google, I feel like that's how they started, right? And I think Facebook also went that model early on. They've all sort of changed now. Maybe they're still trying that a little bit, but I think companies now have gone away from, and I saw this in not just tech companies, but you know, it used to be, you grab the best person. It didn't matter if they had experience in that area before, because you could train the best person much faster than getting someone who even has done the job before somewhere else, getting them up to speed, right? Because that most talented person, they just learn so much quicker, and they'll adapt so much quicker, and they'll expand your capabilities beyond what you had thought. But companies don't think that way anymore. They've gone to this, I want someone to do this job, and I want someone that's done this job for 30 years, and I just want that skill, and I don't want to pay for anything more.
Yes, couple of things there. The skill set depends on how to define the skill, but don't you can't just paint them all with one brush. They all have different aspects to it. When you're talking about skills, right? Personability is a skill, right?
Right.
The ability to learn quickly is a skill. Yeah, the ability to adapt and work in a multi-layered, chaotic environment while everybody else is panicking is a skill. It's intrinsic. It's not necessarily extrinsic. So intrinsic means it's inside you. What we find career remoters are they the people that they love what they do. They are the experts of experts because they pursue it of their own accord and their own volition. They don't have a certificate necessarily, right? In fact, very few of the ones that we work with have any form of certificate. I hate that factor that you've got to go out and get certified to say, yes, you know something. You don't have any love for it. You don't have any concern for it. So skills are important. Knowledge is important. The adaptability is important. These are all, you'll find people that are career remoters. They follow their own path because those talent that you call them back then, right? They are still out there. They are still there, but they're doing their own thing. They don't see the need to sit in that little office and do just your work. They won't buy into your dream. They will support your dream. They'll come in and go, wow, great dream. I'll do this for you. Do you still need me? No? Okay, I'll go and find somebody else to help. And yeah, in the early days, when we've at our age, I guess we call it, we know what it was like back then when everything was new, everything was being discovered as it's coming forward. Those things are still going on. I think part of the problem that these big companies have right now is they can't manage that psychology. They can't manage that type of organization anymore. Because what comes with people who think outside the box comes thought processes don't adhere to, let's call it, like those little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexagons behind you.
Yes.
Right? They don't adhere to that classification and clear the box. You'll find that they'll just get up and leave, and that's what companies are finding. And we're seeing this right now. If they're good, they're not keeping the good people by saying come to the office. They get the people that don't want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're talented, when you've got the skills to do it, you can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So
and you have the confidence in your own skills.
Well, that's the thing that a lot of the people who we can't find a career motive, they're told they have to be in the office. They're told these things, and they doubt themselves a lot of the time too. And that's all part of this, the psychology and the counseling side of things with Kevin is to be yourself. You've got to know where your passion lies, and finding that. So it's out there, like when you're going contract to contract or working in office, you sometimes don't have that. So it's not for everybody, but trying to find that one thing or those things that make your life harmonious, that is a pretty long road to go down. And without help, some people never find it. So the whole part of the process of Kevin is to help people find that, help them find land and find contracts that they want to do or permanent jobs they want to do, things like that. Because some career remoters as well, they want a permanent job because it's letting them actually focus on their actual career, which could be painting, or in some cases could be going out and dancing or singing, who knows. They don't adhere to the same rules that everybody expects them to do when they're sitting inside an office in a corporation.
Yeah. I think for me, I'd love to help companies battle their biggest problems, right, and tackle those obstacles. Uh, but the thing that I would hate the most, it would be to sit there day in, day out and just running operations and just,
Just doing, yeah.
just
So
doing the normal day to day, which, yeah, to me is like the worst thing ever.
yeah,
But you give me a big problem you want to solve or a big project that you need done, and you want to know how to accomplish it, how to change your business. I'm there. I'm
yeah,
there at 7 a.m. and let's go.
yeah. So that's what wakes you up in the morning. That's what drives you.
Yeah,
Getting a challenge is one of those things. I hate to tell you this, you're a career motive. Quite frankly,
exactly.
you
Yeah,
don't want to be in. Look, some of the things that we, as career motives, you like doing is you love the challenge, you love that change, even though you're seeing the same thing. They're the same problems in health in health now that were in 30 years ago when I was playing around in it. Yeah, same problems. They're called different things. The same
right.
problems. Most of it comes down to psychology, not technology. That's something I didn't realize back then. Got nothing to do with the tech. The tech is the tech. The tech's not there to replace or make you better. It's there to facilitate your ability to provide care to the patient or the organization to, provide you with the things you need to provide care to the patient or something like that. So I don't think it's ever going to be about, and this is just me, it's ever about the technology. Technology, you always find some technology, something, you spend enough money, you'll make it work, or you build something to work. Technology is there to support you, not the people support the technology. And so it comes down
Yeah,
after that is, well, what are the people going to do? How are they going to get this done? Well, psychologically, they need to be supported to actually do what they need to do. So I think a lot of companies right now are fighting against that whole thing that happened during COVID, which was that people realized that they are not really needed there because they are what are called knowledge workers. And
yeah,
where you think best is where you should be using your knowledge. If you need to be in office and you think best there, great, go, boom, fantastic. If you don't be. But then the organization needs to be accepting of that and have the support for that type of psychology in their business. And lots don't. Lots are still stuck in the, you've got to be on a seat. I've got to see you. What are you doing? Oh, let's make sure that you're doing the right things, stuff like that. Career motives tend to be based on outcome, whether outcomes specified by them internally, intrinsically, or the outcomes what the company or the organization they're working for is trying to get to. And usually an outcome of small chunks, projects.
yeah,
And so they fit best in that sort of thing because they get one thing done, then move on to another thing. Their knowledge is the same in each one. It's growing, but it's still the same. They still bring their knowledge to bear on each one of these things. And over time, the patterns mean that, you see a way through, that's a pattern. The outcome is basically for this organization or this subgroup, but the pattern's pretty much the same. The exciting thing is finding out how much the same it is and which tweaks you need to push to make it get to where you need to be. So we see that a lot. We see it a lot in the people we talk to, the people we help, the people we support. We see in the organization side of things, they're wondering, what do I need to do? What on earth do I need to do? And the brave ones say, what can I do? And then the conversation starts. Because if you don't want to do anything, even like counseling, for instance, if you don't want to find out what you need to do to be better, it's not going to be successful. So they need to think, what can I do? And then start the conversation.
right.
Because they're too worried about, people being over there versus there. Where they are is where they need to be. So long as what the outcome is that you need them to achieve within the time you need to achieve that outcome, and this is a very different thought process, is done.
I think that takes the leadership and the management of those business to understand one, what is the outcome they're really after, uh, versus just filling a role.
Right.
Is what do they actually want? What does the business need? And I think that goes to maybe that's the enterprise architect in me,
That,
going okay, what is the business goals here, and what are we trying to accomplish, rather than let's just hire another person to run sales or run operations. Like, no, well, let's go back to the beginning. What is our purpose, in this business? you know where are we missing, to be able to satisfy, the business goals, right? And what's going to make us accomplish those, or um, you know change how we play in the field, right? And I think it's just the easy way to go, well, we had 10 salespeople before, and so we have 9 now. We need to hire one more. So we need another salesperson. It's like, well, do you really need another salesperson, or you need those 9 to work better and more efficient?
Yeah.
Or, have someone come in and just change. Like, do we even need salespeople at all? Right. And I just think, we're so stuck on doing things the way they always should be. We're not thinking outside the box. I think as companies have gotten bigger and governments grow, and maybe the rise of AI is scaring a lot of people, that it's just I think there's a lot of uncertainty around where the job market's going, because companies are losing people, right? They've asked people to come back in. And you touched on this before. I think, though, relationships are important. So being in the office is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's understanding when people need to be in the office and what types of work can be remote. And sometimes even you can still have great relationships with remote people and remote workers. It's how you collaborate, and it's how you bring that environment, that you can still talk and still, feel like you're part of a team, and even though you're thousands of miles away.
Yes, and there's a spectrum, is what you're talking about here, and that spectrum's apparent in everybody based on your personality. And one of the things that I think you haven't touched on there is companies tend to measure performance, right?
Yep.
And performance is a really nice thing to measure for them because it's non-humanistic. It's based purely on some obscure metric of what they perceive to be the truth of what the person needs to do, not what the actual person does and who they are to do that. We're getting a bit too metaphysical. Let me give you a perfect example, right? Your sales example, right? So you've got 10, you lose 1, you want to put 1 on, right? Or you want the others to perform better. But what you're not realizing is if you put one person on that knows what, has some other fact and other skill, other talent to be able to, close, or it's been donkeys years since I've been in sales, so I've got most of that stuff there. It's not going to be the technology that's going to make them more efficient and better. It's going to be the person, the people. So maybe they need training. Maybe they need to be let loose a bit more. Maybe they need to, for instance, in certain organizations' case, use their knowledge of the market that they're in better, rather than being told by the corporation how to go out and market, something like that. The psychology of that aspect, rather than just putting technology in. Then finding out where those things are going to be better for them, for each of them, and leveraging that using technology after the fact. So I think that the focus of these large companies and a lot of the smaller ones, but they have a bit of a difference because they're much closer together to the humanistic unit, is too judgmental on the performance of people. They want the numbers, and they end up being driven by numbers. So people become numbers. So they use humanity of the actual organization. And so that idea that they've got a culture, bullshit. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that or not.
Yeah, it's all about the KPI, right?
It's about the KPI, yeah. And even as an EA, I want to use KPIs on measuring my organization, but I don't take out the human side of things, right? That's to measure the performance of the technology within the organization based on its ability to support them, not on the people's performance because they're using technology or whatever it is. So I think this focus on KPIs is okay for like the organization to do for its measurement, but not on focusing on the people to do that. For instance, if we, I don't know, you've worked permanently before, and you have those. It's been a while. Same here, actually. And then you have these concepts of going out performance reviews. Performance reviews, my God, one of the most stressful things ever. Have I performed? So it's there to threaten you, to drive you more seriously to get something done. So threats don't work in psychology. Modeling and support, positive reinforcement does. It's a more long-term thing. So that intrinsically tells you that the organization is not interested in you long term.
Yeah, I would have to say that the last time I had a performance report made me never want to work full time for a company again, and I think it probably was the last time.
For a lot of career remoters, it is because they don't realize what they know and who they are, and they don't. Once they have a performance review and they go, yeah, they usually go, right, well, I'm out of this, and they can
Yeah,
because they're the talent, as you call it. They're the skills. They've got the skills to be
yeah,
able to do these things. It's the ones that, and some do, some don't. This sounds all very fairy, but people all need other people. They need to communicate. They need
yeah,
support. They may not know that they do. And one of the key things that Kevin actually does is we just stand back, and if you're there, if you need us for for that support, we're there. But slowly but surely, if you're in a supportive environment, you get that confidence to be able to go out and do these things yourself. And when you're out there doing them, and you still need it because you do, you circle back. You may not have that support. I would say, how to put this, you may not feel supported sufficiently within the unit that you're working within.
yeah,
Then you go out and you need the support to be able to perform. So you have to recognize that. So you can't push it on people. You have to just know, they just have to know it's there. And then when they need it, you snap into it and make sure that they get what they need. I don't think organizations are set up to do that, because look at it, right? Oh, we use so-and-so, you call the counseling line. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Does anybody ever use those counseling lines?
yes, yeah.
I mean, I hope they do, but
Yeah. The thing is that it's usually done at the last resort. It's like you've gone down. So we want to change that. We want to make it so that, want to have a chat. Yeah, just vent.
yeah,
Come on, just vent. Okay. Once you vent, I've done this a heap of times with people who work for us as well. It's like, just get it off your chest, because once you've verbalized it, you've exposed it. And sometimes when you say that, you go, that doesn't sound that bad anymore.
yeah.
And so and that helps. That helps a lot. But a lot of people containerize the stuff, keep it internal, and it just builds and builds and builds until you snap and you just go, not enough. Like the performance review. You just go, that's enough.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
But if they hadn't, if they had approached it differently, perhaps,
yeah.
you may not
No,
have gone.
yeah. Well, I think performance, like the performance
Yep. Whoops.
that they expected, or that the managers are putting the performance versus their KPIs of what they expect versus what an employee or myself would expect, and saying, well, no, I'm here building the relationships with the customers or clients or whatever it is, and I'm helping them. Yes, we haven't mapped out every single interaction or whatever process, whatever we need, but you know what? There's all this other stuff that is much more important than making sure that every I is dotted and T is crossed, and we have 99 out of 100 processes properly documented. And like, yes, that's good to do, but for the talent, it's about making sure that we've tackled the big picture and the relationship side first, and building the rapport and saying, look, that's what, well, for me, it's like, that's what I'm good at. Like, do you want to pay some top-notch person to go and sit there and just do all these detailed drawings that basically you could pay someone half the price to do? But why are you making them perform to those same KPIs? So to me, it's like, if you're not recognizing that you have talent and you should move them, or respect them and say, hey, look, this person actually, he's doing this job, but and that's okay, but you know what, his qualities in that role are maybe better suited somewhere else or something, or let's morph that position somewhere else and let's bring in support to tackle these other things, versus, oh no, we have a salesperson versus a customer relationship manager.
Yes.
And this is so it's saying, hey, let's move that guy out of sales and he's our customer representative, so the customer account rep and something like that, right? But no, you get pigeonholed, oh
But
no, you're the
why?
sales and you're not performing.
Ask yourself why they need to do that. Ask yourself why organizations need to do that. What is it intrinsic within the environment that we have that drives organizations to do that? You know, a fair few CEOs, CIOs, as do you, and all of them have MBAs, all of them are highly skilled. All of them have left in one way, shape, or another what they've been doing, the ones that I know, and become effectively career motors.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm interested to find out what you think, why organizations are pushing people who are really good at what they do out, especially what you mean by this pigeonholing thing.
I think they think talent is too expensive. And if they build process and standardization, they can get anyone to come in and fill those roles, and that process trumps everything. That's how I feel. So a repeatable process. And I think that works well, possibly works well in healthcare, because you have you have people's lives on the line. So you want to make sure that your processes are really well maintained and really adhered to, right? So, and everybody's following the same process, and you just teach the process over and over and over, so that insurance wise, maybe not outcome wise, but insurance wise, cover your ass, right? That you've done everything by the book, right? So I think, unfortunately, that way of thinking has dribbled over into other industries where they go, right, we just make a process and we just churn through, even if we have 30-40% turnover every year in staff turnover. It doesn't matter, because we've got this process, and it doesn't matter who's in there. You look at Tesla. I don't want to read too much into that, but this is a company now for a lot of reasons. I think it's probably overvalued and whatever else, but they did, I mean, less on Tesla, but more on SpaceX, right? They rewrote the rule book on how you do space exploration, space, getting up the satellites for internet. And, it's like you had companies that have been in the satellite internet game and satellite TV game for 30-40 years, and here comes SpaceX and basically destroys them in a few years. And that's all because they hired talent.
No, I don't think so.
I think so. I think it's not process.
Well,
Now, money
agree
is
with you.
something else.
Yeah.
But I think those other companies had money too. But they were, I believe it's talent, and it allowing that talent to explore new things rather than saying we're gonna pull you down and say. I don't know. I could be wrong. I wasn't a part of Tesla. I wasn't part of SpaceX.
Me neither,
so I don't know. But
I value your opinion on that, because the healthcare one, for a start, yes, I think that's the United States of it, but I don't think it's totally that. So when we're talking about the pigeonholing thing, part of the reason that, and this is only from what I've spoken to people about, they need predictability, so that ultimately, especially in the larger corporations, they can go to their shareholders and say, yes, we will perform like this later on, right? So they need predictability. So process and standardization drives predictability.
And is that public versus private? So
no, we see that in the private ones. What we see, and you see this quite a bit, is a very strong leader, and their thought processes will drive the public organization. Even in a private organization, the public organizations, same sort of thing, but the bias is towards the shareholders because they control all this other aspect. What we're talking about is not that thing there. The pigeonholing, the whole idea that you should be in your box so we can see where you are and stuff like that. That comes from, as they're growing, they need to control the organization. It's about control. It's a bit like when people are delivering projects, they want people going off and doing the right thing, then people doing the things so they can tick off the tasks that they need to do, which is fair enough. But on these sides, one of the reasons, and I don't know what's happening in Tesla, or I don't know, and SpaceX. I love watching what they do. they're driven by an individual who is incredibly charismatic and driven and a workaholic
Yeah.
and totally
But
anti anybody being anything else. But he collects
but he
people.
beats, and he does. He brings in talent. He collects talent.
He collects people that he knows can do the job, and he lets them
Yeah.
free. But the rest of the organization seems to be, off you go. When we come down to what's like their special case, I think, because right now it's in the system, nobody works from home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
works
Yeah.
remotely, and that's almost the antithesis of what
Oh,
we believe.
but he is also hiring people to work remotely as
Yes,
well.
he is
So
special ones,
yeah,
special ones.
special
So if
ones.
you're not special, you're not going to work from home. It's not matter of working from home. Remotely does not mean work from home. And remotely does not mean you're never in the office if you need to be,
Right.
right? What it is, it's really about the mindset of you're doing it because it's what you enjoy doing. One of our people, he's a data statistician, right? He's a data analyst. He's been doing it for God knows how long right now, but he's never worked in an office. He's always worked for people and he's never done a CV. He's always worked for people that he gets on with, who know about him through other channels. And how he
Yep.
started, what he did was, and this is back to like this idea of the process and healthcare and also stuff, because you've got a lot of those people in there. They're there because they care about what they do and the outcome they deliver to people who care about what they do and the outcome they deliver. And I think one of the things that probably Elon Musk and the other people of his ilk are very good at doing is finding those people, because they themselves are like that. They don't follow the rules, right?
Yep.
A career mode does not follow the rules at all, right? It just so happens that his career mode pathway is, I want to be in office, I want everybody around me. So that's still respect. He's still to respect that. He's still to go, yes, that's fine. Yep. But on the flip side, and heaven help me for saying this, he thinks about himself and how he works and thinks everybody else should work like that. Whereas the companies that we're talking about here they don't have the same ability to lead in the same way. They can only make standards and make the organization constrained to get where they need to be. That's what they're taught. That's what they do. So if you took them out of that and put them in a different organization, do the same thing. That's what you see. CEO goes from here to here. They do the same thing. They're going to drive this way. And then they either fail miserably or they succeed immensely because their processes and organizations work. Yeah. But where you see the big difference is, and I see this a lot, is the startups, people who just think outside the box to start with, attract people who think outside the box. Yep. But then they're told by their accountants and their advisors, oh, no, you've got to have an office. You've got to have these people here. So a couple of the ones I'll be interviewing for Kevin, for instance, and I'll be interviewing you too, by the way, they have totally remote businesses. There's never been anybody in an office, and they're successful and they're growing. They're not growing as fast, I think, as somebody who just concentrates everybody in one room and goes, but they're methodical and they're growing and it doesn't shrink back. It just keeps going out because of the way they respect what people bring to the business of their own accord, and are not told what to do. They, this is where we want to be. Let's go there. You go this way, I go this way. We'll get there. But they trust. This is the one thing that's missing a lot of the time. They trust who's working with them to get their dream fulfilled. Whereas in these large organizations, they don't trust you. So they put all these riggers around you, and they're going to lose people. As you say, they're going to lose talent, the skills that they need to do, because they're going to lose the people that don't want to be boxed in. And that's the biggest HR problem right now, is they don't understand all their training and all the psychology that they get, because HR people get first year psychology. They don't get the rest of it. They don't get counseling. They think that that's a thing on the side. And what they're realizing, I think now, to a degree, is that it's not good enough just giving somebody a job description and sitting them in a room and saying, go. They've got to know who the person is and what motivates and drives them. And who wants to do that in these things? Because you don't have time. You've got 1,000 odd people or something like that. Sorry, anyway, going down the track.
So McKinsey had a report, I think it was 2022, of, and it had the top 5 reasons why people left a job without another in hand. So this is just people quitting
For the
I
hell of it.
didn't line up enough for the hell of it. No. So top 5. Number 1, uncaring leaders. Number 2, unsustainable work performance expectations. Number 3, lack of career development and advancement potential. Number 4, this one's interesting, lack of meaningful work. And number 5, lack of support for employee health and well-being.
So every single one of those things is what Haven goes and tries to get organizations to understand and how to actually get across that. And it comes down to the ability to provide that person with their own life work harmony.
Yep.
Yeah. If they don't have that, all those things are going to happen. Yes, I've seen that report and several others about that. The most recent, just to get out, I've sent it to you. Most recent one was done, wasn't scientific at all, because McKinsey is just a consultants organization. I'm not going to believe their stuff, and they're going to say, what they say. It's nice that it's confirming a bias that I have, but I'm going to be careful of that, because there's also a lot of stuff out there that says, you should be in office because it's, you need to have the collaboration and stuff. But all the things they're do ring true to my confirmation bias, but they're doing true with what we're seeing, and people do have those things. I don't know about you, but I certainly have at points in time just gone, I just can't take it any longer. I'm just going. And then inevitably you go and you get picked up straight away by something you like to do. Yeah. For the last umpteen years, that's what's happened.
Yeah.
But what we're worried about are those people that do that and don't have confidence to be able to be represented and represent themselves, to be able to understand where they need to be happy. Because once you're happy with what you do, you, let's use their terms, perform better.
Yeah.
Right? You deliver the outcomes you need to deliver and want to deliver. But when you're forced to do something, most people just go, grind through it. Yeah. And they end up just going, one.
Yeah. And I think that's why I love consulting a bit, is because you go, well, you know what, they want me to do this, but that's not actually what I wanted. I can say no. So as an employee, if they want me to do something as part of my job, then I don't have a choice. Like,
yes,
that's
you do.
not really
what you do. They do exactly what they did and just quit.
Well, that's exactly right. That's what I'm saying. But that's what you end up having to do. But you go, look, that's not really, what I enjoy doing. That's not really my skill set, that my forte, or what I love, my passion for. And, and I'm not talking about passion like playing sports or something. I'm talking about passion for work.
Yeah.
Right. So, but, but as an employee, you can't really say no, or you have to quit, or you get fired or something. So, but as a remote
career
remote
remote
worker, career remoter, consultant, contractor, you can say no to these things. So you can say, I'm not going to take that job and that work because it's not really in my wheelhouse. They can find someone else. If you have something in my wheelhouse you want me to do that I love doing, I will perform at a super high level for you. But everything else I can just say no to. And you don't have to be doing that stuff that you don't enjoy.
So put yourself on the other side of the coin there. You've got somebody, you are a person, you're accountable for getting something delivered.
Yeah.
And you've got all these people who are responsible for helping you get there. And you don't have the ability to influence them at all, but you need it. You need to go direct them, right? The first thing people who don't know, I guess I wouldn't say what they're doing, how to change somebody's mind, is threaten them with something. Yeah. Performance reviews, firing them or something like that. And that in itself breeds intrinsically within the business more negative outcomes.
Yeah. So it's the psychology of leadership. Leadership and management are two different things. And if you
anybody can manage,
anybody can manage, not everybody can lead. And if you're leading properly, people will do whatever it takes to follow you to accomplish what you want to do. And it's like even if it's something that I don't enjoy, but if I'm following a leader that wants to accomplish something, I'll jump in and help out on stuff that I don't normally do. But if it's a manager telling me, I want you to do this, then I'm going to go, no way.
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't have PMs or PLs. project leaders, not
Project
project
leaders.
managers.
Yes.
You and I have both
Yes.
been project managers, right? And yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Look, we won't
yeah.
go there, but just think about this, right? We're two old
Yeah,
guys talking about
I'm
this.
not a yeah, yeah, like I'm not a project manager that loves,
Project,
documenting and project man. I'm a project leader. Exactly.
right?
I'm gonna use that from now on
Yeah.
because that's
You
exactly
lead
how I
projects
feel.
because you
Yes.
keep the vision, and this is what you see in startups. The person, the founders, the co-founders, especially. That's another thing we're doing. We're doing what we call co-founder counseling. I shouldn't laugh about it because it's obvious when you think about it. You've got people there who huge ideas to be able to do things, continuous rejection, from everybody, and then just trying to drive through and needing a sounding board, especially I offer counseling and ICT sounding. You would want a better term, but just the ability to, and I'm not displaying it right now, the ability to listen and get them to express what their problems are and finding out from their own perspective how to solve them is a great boon to people. So that is, I wouldn't say leader, but that's supporting leadership. Now, in small startups, that's easy to get your idea across and maintain that idea, whether the person sitting next to you or 10 million kilometers away on the moon. Well,
Yeah.
not that far. That's easy because there's so few people that once you get past a certain size, I think it's about 150, 170 people scientifically. Don't quote me on that. It's more difficult to carry that meme, if you will, over.
Yeah.
And the attention spans of people are decreasing. Whereas I was going to say, we're old guys. Yeah. We're still from the I still remember the days when I used to dial up on a modem to get to a bulletin board to go, wow. I remember the day that, the internet was released and I was playing with it at university, stuff like that. We've got people these days who we see this all the time, don't believe in what the large corporations have to sell, right? The idea that they sell, what they do. We also have people that just absolutely, yes, they do, but there's quite a few, I wouldn't say how many. We know a lot of the Gen Zs and whatever, Gen Alpha, whatever they call themselves different names, but they're thinking more and more in terms of what's my real passion? What do I really like doing? And is what you're doing something like, why should I work for you if I don't like what you're doing? That's a different way of thinking. That's what career remote is sequel most of the time. And so let me ask you this. Has there ever been a place where you've been contracted into that when it came into the contract, we're going, geez, I wish I could stay a bit longer?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you wish you could stay a bit longer?
So one was a couple of reasons. One, because I felt like there was more that I wanted to accomplish there, like outside of necessarily what I was contracted for, but I felt like there was still work to be done to help that organization on that next step, and I just felt like I wasn't finished. There was still big changes that I wanted to help with, right, and help move them onto that next. Even though I set them on a path, and help them, get a new 5-year plan and understand where they needed to go. I wanted to help more on that journey because I actually believed in what they were trying to do. And they took my recommendations and my experience and embraced it and said, you're exactly right. We've been doing this wrong. And, you've given us a new vision here. I just wanted to kind of be more a part of that journey. So that's happened a couple times.
Was it ever the money that motivated you?
No.
Ever? Not there, anyway.
No. So, even if money was good, I've left it on the table.
Right. So right there, your psychology is expressing itself as the drive to solve the problem. So you're following your passion, if you will. That's where your harmony is going to come from.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying here is more and more of the more recent generations than us are thinking exactly like that from the get-go. Right. So I firmly believe, and this is why Kevin's starting now and not in 10 years time, because 10 years time, there's going to be others realize the same thing. I firmly believe right now, the days of this concept of the corporations we have right now is slowly going to dwindle out, right? We're going to get more and more companies that succeed in tune with what the people that they need to succeed, because it's all about people. You do not have, and maybe AI will change this. I don't think it will just yet, right? I don't see us having a AI company with a CEO and just basically AI underneath and doing everything. Maybe that'll happen long after we're dead, but the way AI is just a big regurgitation engine, if you will, so far. But we will always need people in organizations to drive them to what they perceive to be successful. And if they can't express that in terms of things that interest the people that are working for them, if people are just working there for the money, they're the ones that just go through performance review. They're just there to do that. Do you want those people, or do you want people that are going to help drive, be on drive your success, believe in what you're doing, even for a short period of time? So I see the whole structure of organizations and our HR, the importance of HR in organizations changing. I see HR companies will spend more on HR, should be doing more on HR than anything else. R&D in HR, right? Everything like that should be, how do we bring in the people we need? You call them talent, or have the knowledge and skills we need to succeed. And they're not doing that question because, as you say, they just standardize and they process out everything. And where that happens, you lose the people, and they become things for the organization.
Yeah.
So,
this is a huge topic right there.
I'm sorry,
but and I want to, before you jump on to other things, I actually want to address a couple of those things that you said. One, because I mentioned this in the podcast episode with Damien, is I worked several years ago with a company, and it was about what technology you need to attract this younger generations coming in, right? Because they expect,
I saw this podcast, yes.
So they expect this certain level of technology in the business to be able to use, and ways to collaborate with their, they're used to Snapchat and all the instant messaging and all this sort of stuff. So then they like Slack, right? And so they want their systems that they're not going to be on an old DOS era ERP or sales platform. They're going to go, what is this? So they're going to want stuff that's kind of up to date, right? But that's one. So, and we didn't really look at it as what other motivators within the business are that we talked, that this younger generation. I think there was some studies done about they wanted to work with companies that have the same sort of
values,
environmental and values. There you go. That they have. The companies are trying to, I think, with lots of advertising and jumping on different initiatives to say, yes, we're good with our environmental issues and our communities outreach and stuff like that. But I'm not sure if that's all. I think there's a lot of spin there. But
yes.
it's and what is the actual value? Do they actually value their employees, right? I think that's probably a bigger question. Is if they don't value the employees, do they really value their environment and their community? I don't know. So that's one thing. But then you talk about the hiring process and this talent acquisition, and they're posting these jobs where they get thousands of applicants, and HR is just basically running AI to look for keywords, or running an algorithm to get to keywords, and okay, give me the top 20 that hit as many keywords as that. And they don't even look at half the applicants, right? So how do you expect, people, I've seen a couple of posts recently on like Reddit, was a Reddit job board, and saying, this one guy, I think he's posted like 1,000 job applications and only got maybe 30 callbacks or interviews out of those 1,000, and then finally to get one job. It's insane how many applications you have to put in just to get someone to look at your CV.
Yep.
You know, how many of those 1,000 was just, you know, an automated process? You know, probably, you know, 900 was just totally wiped before it even actually went to a real person to review.
And what does that do to the psyche of
Yeah.
everybody? You and I, we're both in the same spot. I know, you know, and this was before I became, let's say, independent career promoter. And part of the reason for that is the nature of what HR needs to do to support the business. They're not there to support the people unless the people are there for the business. So HR works for the business, not the people. And that's why they farm out all that, you know, all the stuff that supports the people somewhere else, because people in the business are there only to provide the business with the success. So part of the problem there is that in doing so, they're actually not about the people so much, but about the business, which is fine. They can do that. But then they've got to think about, where do people fit in their business? And I think that's what's missing in a lot of these processes, is that there's insufficient thought to thinking about that. That's why people get up and leave. That's why the people that can leave do. They're not going to stick around. There's no glue to hold them in. So some of the glues, you know, for you, for instance, the glue would be, you, Christian, every single thing that people say can't be done.
Yep.
Yeah. Same with me. You know, I love doing things that just can't be done, or people say are so difficult.
Yep.
But
bring it on.
Bring it on. Yeah. You got to have a lot of those things. That's why for the likes of myself, and other people we know, being on that contract side of things, being what we call contingent workers, being career remoters, we get to have that. We get to be in the middle of that and not have the stagnation that you do when you're waiting for something else to happen. So we're getting dopamine hits every single time, right? Wow. Yep. Keep driving, go. And then we're not doing that. You know, if we're not, don't have that balance, that we call balance, harmony between what we like to do and what we do, then we're going to go, well, feel kind of low before we come out.
Yep.
Right. So the whole point around what we're trying to do with Kevin is even that out. Your life, your work, harmonize it. Don't try to balance it. Balancing implies a fight, continual fight, trying to make one over the other. If they work together, you're better off. You are better off. And just psychologically, people can understand that, but they can't achieve it. So the way you achieve that is either you intrinsically can, and perhaps you have. There's a few that we know have, but then you need to have an organization that supports that. Because if you go through other, we call them agencies, I guess, they don't care your number. You just push meat through the grinder. Yep. So we're not about that. We're not about meat grinding. Like, yeah, we'll help place people, represent them and stuff like that. But the main thing here is to help people maintain their balance, because that's going to give whoever they go and do the job for the ability to achieve what they need to achieve, because these people are going to be on top of the game permanently, you know? So that's the thing. So when you find out what that is, and you can help yourself describe it, which is what we're there to help people do, then you can do the best you can do all the time. There's none of this really lows and highs all the time. And that's what the younger generation, we find the young generation, they love doing certain things, and you know, that's their passions, and that's becoming more important to them than just getting a job to make money to pay for bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, there's the circles, right? So there's the circle of things I do really well, and then there's the circle of things I actually like to do.
And they've got to intersect.
You know? And
they've got to intersect. So once they intersect, that's your happy place. And so, you know, I don't have jobs. I don't do work. I'm actually doing stuff I really like to do. And then when I'm not doing that, I've got other stuff I really like to do. But when I'm working, it's stuff I really like to do. You know, so it's a nice place to be. And not enough people actually are there. They're going to work. They're working. They're coming back. They're sleep. How's that a life?
Yeah.
You know,
you know, they always say, you know, do what you love, and it never feels like work, right? So
I honestly don't think there's a truer word said. Yeah. And just to come back to the healthcare thing, this has been bugging me. Yes, the United States probably is like that. But healthcare, as you call it, healthcare workers, from the paramedic through to the, you know, to the surgeon, they are on their own pathways, especially outside the United States. Yeah, in the United States, I don't think they're respected very much at all because they're part of the insurance brokering scheme that the United States works
Right.
out of. But over here, like there's, they may work for the public health system, for instance, or work for the private, but most of them work for themselves in that
Yeah.
organization. And the organization themselves cater to them, not them catering to the organization. Whereas in the United States, I see clinicians catering to the insurance company or the organization rather than the way around. You know,
Yeah. Depending on if the doctor is independent and just as a private,
yeah,
then they'll be there. But if they work for one of the big hospital organizations or insurance organizations which actually own hospitals, some of them do. They have their own
yeah,
hospital network as well as their own insurance. But yeah, you basically are just you adhere to their standards. But yeah, there are also private ones as well.
yeah. I'm just looking at what just recently happened to the what's it Health Scope, whatever they're called in the United States, the CEO.
Yeah, the insurance
Yeah.
company. Yeah.
He's not an old guy. He's not a real young guy.
No.
He's somebody in the middle. And I was really surprised when I saw that there's, people aren't condemning what he's done because he shot somebody. There's certain people actually giving him money to defend himself. So that tells you something about what potentially people are thinking beyond just.
He wasn't the insurance. Yeah.
So that, that's a big worry for anybody. But the fact is that
the shooter is getting the money that they're raising funds.
Yeah, that's
yes,
right. Yeah.
Not the
And
healthcare CEO.
I mean, I don't read the news, but this has been out, like even for somebody like myself who just sits in the computer and goes, ugh. But not saying it's a racial thing, but why? I mean, people are not accepting that anymore over there, or whatever's happening. But here in Australia, we, and I'd say in quite a few countries outside the United States, we do have people who don't work for somebody to deliver your care and don't have those boundaries, especially in the public health system, especially now. So it is a bit different here. The processes, that's part of we have. The processes are not part of, the ordering, whatever it is.
I will
standardization.
agree to disagree on that because I have several examples where that's not the case, but I'll leave that one alone for now.
We'll have another chat just about that. But look, when it comes down to it, standardization and processes do remove humans from the whole thing, but they have to, because organizations can't plan without knowing where things fit. Now, they can't. But if they want the people, let's go use your word, talented people to work within the organization, they can't keep doing that, right? Or don't do that and just bring these people in when they need them, and be respectful of who they are because they bring them in. We've had situations with our people going into places and being asked to do something, delivering exactly what was, there it is in a short period of time because they've got the experience, knowledge, and capability to do that. But then somebody steps in and goes, "Oh, that's not what I want." But the organization said when they came in, "That's what we wanted." Well, but that's not what I want. And then the situation was that they went, "Oh, that's rubbish that you've done there." And of course, as soon as you tell that somebody who's put all that effort into getting there, they go, Now, if you're working there permanently, you'll just perhaps suck it up, whatever you want, and you'll just feel lower and lower and lower. But as a contingent worker, fine, that's great. I gave you what I needed to give you. You asked for that. I'll go find somebody else that needs my skill set.
Yeah.
If organizations want to get around that, they've got to respect the people that deliver those skills, knowledge, and capabilities to their organizations. And I think HR is getting to there, but they need more psychological approaches to what they're doing rather than just mechanical, like you say when looking at CVs. What's this? What's this? What's this? No. Because they're probably missing out on people that may not have the tick box, but have the personality and the psychology to actually do a fantastic job. But they don't have time to do that. They don't have time to evaluate that. So maybe they should be a bit more refined in how to go about doing that rather than just saying, send your CV in. And I think the newer generation's more about who they are, not who you think they are, what you want them to be. So find out about me. Why should I work for you? And that's a bit hard for an organization that's used to telling people what to do to have somebody go tell me why I should work for you. I think there are organizations that are doing that. I think there are, and I can't, of course, name them here, but eldest daughter, she's doing an internship with a certain organization right now, and they've been phenomenally good at finding out who she is, and especially what she likes to do. And so that when she does her internship, she's doing things of interest to her. And I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that'll make the younger generation want to work with them, not for them, with them. For them, with them, right? And that's. I think that's a great approach. I think that's a really good approach. And this is a larger scale organization, a very large one, but they're looking at their people more as people and engagement of those people and their skills than just somebody to do a job. But maybe that'll change later on. I don't think so, because having seen the way they've gone about doing this and the source of, I guess, interns that they bring together for this, it's too consistently about the person rather than about the job. So I think it's a good thing.
And so I've hit this a few times in my career where, you've been working with the company, they want to turn something into a full-time role, but maybe doesn't need a full-time role. And it's like, so, you're kind of like, well, I could actually do that, but I don't want to be that operational person. I just want to help set it up and then hand it over, and you guys can just run the operational, versus getting someone in to kind of build and be operations. So how do companies delineate that, or say, you know what, let's actually just build out the capability with contracting and consulting, and then we can just hire someone to manage it after that?
Honestly, I think it's because the one thing that career owners like doing is sharing their knowledge. Right? So you could have 1,000 contractors and maybe 10 would be career remoters with all those factors. Some of them will have some of the factors, but ultimately, there's a couple of things which differentiate them. One is sharing. They know stuff. They really like people to know stuff so they can help themselves. They like helping people. They like that challenge. They like doing that. And I think organizations are too used to people not sharing because they treat them like that, and they don't trust them enough to do that, I think. So part of that problem there for that is that, oh my God, you've just done this. I'm using you as an example. You've just done this. We can't lose you, otherwise we lose all that knowledge. Well, hell, find somebody that's willing to learn, may not have the skills right now, may not have the knowledge right now to do that, and I will teach them. Keep me on for like 5 months. By the time I leave, they will be mini me. They will know everything that I know about this year, and you're happy to do that. That's what they don't understand. They don't trust you to do that. In fact, they'd probably look at you going, it'd be too much money. They're not seeing the benefit of that because they're used to thinking in pure numbers. You've done some hours, I'm going to pay you for those hours. When you've done those hours, you're gone. Rather than, okay, there's knowledge there. If we put somebody in that's interested, and maybe internally, there's people internally, I've had this before. I've mentored people as well. I'm sure you've done the same thing. Yeah. There's always somebody who resonates with somebody else, right? There always is. Finding them in a big enough organization, there is bound to be, statistically speaking, if that person wants to do what you're doing right now and taking it further, teach them. But a lot of the time when they're doing these things, they don't think beyond getting the job done. So one of the outcomes may be that they need to include is that knowledge sharing at the very end of knowledge handover, or just taking on a mentee, if you will. Which brings us to one other thing. Have you ever had a mentor that's made a big difference in your entire career?
I had a mentor when I was just starting out for about a year or so. And that was probably the last time I had a decent mentor. And so I've tried to be a mentor to to others, as you say, and try and do that knowledge transfer and help bring up people and share my experience and my knowledge, and help them as they grow. But no, I've unfortunately, really struggled to find a mentor uh, for most of my career, even though, I would have loved to have one.
Right. Um, Guess what? One of the things that we see a lot is that career motors usually have one point in time where they've had a mentor that has given them the confidence to be who they want to be. Right? A lot of them have. I mean, a lot. That person that you had was a mentor for you. You said like you've been looking for a good one since
Very
then.
early on, but yes.
Yeah, that probably influenced you a lot more than you think.
Mm.
And so that's one of the other things that through Cabin we're trying to do is old people like ourselves. We need to do more of that because the younger generation's coming through, and they do have, believe it or not, we think a lot like them, not exactly like them, because their language is different, the expression of the way they react to the world's different, the way they see things, and all sorts of things. But they still need other people. They still need that capability to see the world differently than what they're being told. And they think that they know, but they haven't got the experience to intrinsically know. So yeah, mentoring is probably one of the things that I think is missing as well from the whole concept of organizations overall, which would actually...
we're probably going over time here, but we could go long time into, organizations that don't train anymore, right? They want someone that already knows the job rather than, for years and years, they would get someone new and they would train you in that role, and that you would spend the first month in training. But that now, no, nobody has time for that now. No, we just hire someone that's already got this experience. And again, this goes to the HR portion where they're already looking, for those keywords. Has this person done this before?
Yeah.
Again,
and so how
rather
does
than
somebody who's
talent
never
or someone
done it
that can grow into it? Yeah,
exactly.
And,
So one of the things that I'm going to wrap you into is actually help me write for Kevin some things about security infrastructure and things like that, because there's a lot of people in IT, the younger generations coming out there, they've got all the certificates in the world, right? They've got 10 certificates from AWS and Amazon Amazon.
No
AWS,
real world experience.
But nothing there, nothing real.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things we can do to help that is actually provide them written mentorship, but give them an opportunity to be mentored as they're going through their careers. It doesn't cost us anything. We love what we do.
Yeah.
But it does benefit them as well, and gives us more career remoters out there confident in what they do. So we can only benefit from that. But maybe I'm just sort of loading the dice a bit in that. But I think that whole conversation about mentors, I've seen this in a lot of people I've spoken to for Cabin and for previous business as well, is where at a very crucial point in their lives, usually when they're much younger. In fact, I think only once had one when they'd been older and they changed to stop the career ladder flow and they went straight out. But usually when they're much younger, and that's a huge impact on their psyche about how they see the world and how they see what they like to do as important. And it sometimes takes them years to realize that they are a career remoter, but it's always been some key point in their background where they've had a mentor of some sort to help them to get across. There's others who've actually come to their own conclusions, their own realizations that they like that, but it's a more arduous thing because they felt like they were alone and they felt like they shouldn't be doing it, and they've tried to stick to work and they've been the stresses and stuff. But I find that a mentor in the background of people has usually made that sort of like I'm not alone. I'm going to do it. Yeah. I'm going to be a career remoter.
Well, on that note, I'm a career remoter. Thank you very much.
Guess what? Me too.
And that's the only way I can work. I don't think I could do it. I've tried and I can't do it any other way. So
welcome to the club. There's a lot more of us out there. I think we just coined that term because you got career professional, and that's all that's out there, right? There's nothing else for us. And humans, we love to classify. We like to put things in buckets. Strangely enough,
Yeah,
like everybody
gotta
else in the
label
organization,
it.
we've got to label it. But my label is very loose, so it's very fuzzy on the edges. It's not like that books. So yes, I should say our label. Yeah. But anyway, thanks,
Yeah.
Christian.
Well, thank you very much. It's been great. And Van, I know we'll have you on again soon. And if you've got any questions for Van, pop them in the chat and on the comments, and we'll try and get back to him next time we meet up. And and hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll link
Press
to
that button.
Kevin below.
Thanks, Christian.